Welcome to this week's Ask Charlie. Now it's Mother's Day in the UK this coming weekend, and I thought I would share an absolute favourite recipe with you all that maybe you might want to cook for your mother. It is always such a popular one, and that is my caramelised red onion and bacon quiche. Utterly delicious and pretty easy, I think. It's always a crowd pleaser. It's great for a picnic. It's great for Easter. It's great as a light lunch or lots and lots of different ways to enjoy it. So while the dogs are all quiet, I currently actually have 9 in this kitchen, and it's a quiet moment. Everybody is asleep, and I also got a dear friend coming for lunch tomorrow, and I thought that she might really enjoy this. So it's another reason why I'm cooking it, but I've got everything prepped. Now you can shop bought short crust pastry. We're going to make our own. I have got my Magimix. I find pastry in the Magimix so quick and so easy, but you can also do this by hand, and I'll show you how. So I've got 250 grams of plain flour, and I'm just going to pour that straight into my Magimix bowl. I've got 125 grams of unsalted butter. I've cubed this up, I've popped it back in the fridge while I was getting everything prepped and ready. You want it to be cold straight from the fridge, so pop that in. A good pinch of sea salt, and the reason why I use unsalted butter and then salt it is because you can get the right amount of sea salt. I'm actually going to go in with 2 pinches of salt, and then I have got some milk waiting. You can use water if you prefer. I'm going to just mix this for a very short period of time, probably about 30 seconds, and then we're going to spoon in the milk. Don't overwork it. You're going to get a much lighter pastry if it's not overworked. Literally, I'm not sure that was even 30 seconds. And then a large tablespoon and some cold milk. I'm probably going to use 3 to 4 tablespoons of milk. In that one goes. We're going to start with 3. I've got quite a large spoon here. We can always add more. We can't take it away. And then again, don't overwork it. Quickly pulsate it. I'm going in with 1 more spoon of milk. And then have a large bowl waiting, and just pop all of your mixture. Now it's looking quite dry. We can always add some more, but I think once I get my hands in here, it's going to come together really nicely. So let's move that out of the way. Just take my rings off. I'm going to give my hands a good wash. And then if you're doing this by hand, let me just drop you down so you can see exactly what I'm doing. If you're doing this by hand, then this is what you want to do until you've got that butter combined in with the flour. But because we've already done that stage of the Magimix, this is going to be a lot quicker. So we're just going to squeeze it together to form a ball. And again, you don't want to play with it. You just want to work quickly and just get it all squidged together. And then when your pastry has come together nicely, leave it in a bowl, cover it, pop it in the fridge for at least 30 minutes just to let it sit and rest before you roll it out. I'll leave these linked in the description of this video. I get them online and I find them really useful. I use them for my sourdough, but it's just a great reusable cover for a bowl. So that is going into the fridge now. Now, I mentioned earlier that it's Mother's Day this weekend in the UK, and with that in mind, I've put together my Mother's Day gift guide, and I'm going to leave it linked in the description of this video. So if you go to the underneath this video, and there's a few words, and then it says more, if you click on more, you get all of the video's information. And so when I say it's in the description, that's where I mean it is, and there'll be a link to it there of some wonderful companies that I love, that I think that you might love as well. I've got a few discount codes as well that I have shared with you, and you might want to pass it on to somebody. If you spot something you like, and just drop them a few subtle hints. Here's Charlie's Mother's Day gift guide, and by the way, I rather like that. So a few ideas for you, but you know, even with it's not Mother's Day, for birthdays, for you know, special occasions, I thought a really lovely gift guide to put together. So I hope that you enjoy looking at it as well. I'm going to leave my pastry to rest. I'm going to go and do a few bits and pieces, and then I will come back to you and we will make the filling. And I should also say that the gift guide will be on my website as well. So if you can't find it in the description, or you want to just head to my website, it will be linked for you there as well. It is time to make our filling, and apologies for background noise. I've got a large pan, 2 red onions, which I have finely sliced, not diced, just sliced up, and some olive oil. I'm going to use a medium to low heat, so I'm going to mix between my 2 rings of my alga about a tablespoon of olive oil. Add your onions straight in to that oil, and add a couple of good pinches of sea salt. Now we're going to cook our red onions slowly for about 15 to 20 minutes. If you need to add a little bit of water into the pan because it's drying out, you can do so. So I'm going to just get the heat going on the hotter side of my alga, and then I'll drop the temperature down to a sort of low to medium heat. We want them to be caramelized, we want them to be absolutely delicious. We're just using the olive oil and salt at the moment. Once they've had about 15 minutes cooking, we'll add a little bit of balsamic and some sugar. Right, I've got Lola asleep at my feet. She's one tired mama. I know the feeling. Right, I just had to take those off. I had a phone call, so put those back on the heat. They have had about 15 or 20 minutes. They are looking like that. And it is time to add in 1 tablespoon of sugar. You can use any sugar, but I'm using a brown sugar. Add that in, and then 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. I love balsamic vinegar. And then on a low heat, another 10 minutes of cooking time. So let's pop that over there. Let that sugar dissolve in. Oh my goodness, so yummy. I love caramelized red onions. So I'll just let those do its thing. And while that is doing its thing, we're going to start on the pastry. Right, a clean work surface to work on, a loose bottom tin. Well, now you can make a quiche in any tin you want, or dish. However, I prefer using a loose bottom because they're just easier to serve. You can just take it out and cut it up nicely, and I just find they work really well. So I've got that waiting in the wings. A little sprinkle of plain flour onto your work surface, and always flour your rolling pin as well. I've taken my pastry out of the fridge. It's just come straight out, so I'm actually going to leave it there for a few minutes just to warm up a little bit so it's easier to work with, otherwise it's just going to crack and crumble. So I'm just going to leave that there, stir my onions, and just get everything else ready. So I'm just softening my pastry. You can see Lola's head there. Pop your pastry on the surface, and then just roll it out. You can use a silicone mat to roll your pastry out if you have a work surface that things stick to. In our old house we had granite, and I couldn't roll directly onto that. This is Korean, and it works brilliantly for rolling out pastry. And then roll your pastry out until it's about the same thickness as a pound coin. When your pastry is rolled out and thin enough, get your tin and carefully lift it into your tin. And then I use my knuckle just to push it down in to the corners. I don't like my pastry to be too thick, I don't want to have a big crust of pastry. I want it to be a nice, thin, delicate pastry case. And make sure you push it down into the corners. And then you can either flop it over and cut it on there, or you can run a knife around the top. Or actually, I will show you a really clever hack in a moment. Let's get that in. If it cracks at all, you can just fill the crack with the pastry. Nobody will know. And I really push it down, so then the pastry is not going to shrink when you're baking it. So really get it into the corners, get your knuckle in and push it down. And then you can just roll your rolling pin, oh, I haven't done that very well, roll your rolling pin over the top to cut the excess pastry off. You can make a few jam tarts or something with that leftover pastry. Now, because I have an Aga, I don't blind bake my pastry. I actually just cook this on the floor of the Aga, and that way I don't get a soggy bottom on my pastry and I don't need to bother with blind baking. I'm actually going to pop this in the fridge just to rest while I'm finishing off the filling. The caramelized onions are done and we just need to cook the bacon. So this can just wait in the fridge. And I find if I put it in the fridge, it's less likely to shrink when I put the filling in and cook it. So that is how my onions are looking now that they are caramelized. Smell amazing, utterly delicious. Now I'm not going to bother to wash up the pan. I am going to use the same pan to cook my pancetta in. And then just fry your pancetta in the pan until it is just beginning to slightly brown. The bacon is done and I've just got some kitchen roll in a bowl, and that's going to catch the fat. So I'm just going to leave that with my onions to one side while we make our mixture. So 2 eggs cracked into a large bowl. I always try to remember to crack my eggs into a little bowl first, and that way if you're adding like 3 or 4 eggs and your 4th egg is bad, you're going to ruin the whole lot. So crack it into a bowl first is a good habit to get into. In that goes then 300 ml of sour cream, which is actually all of this, and a large tablespoon of cream cheese. I'm going to add the cream cheese in first and then I can add the rest of the sour cream in. This is a dessert spoon, so I'm just adding in a large tablespoon and then all of the sour cream. So with my eggs, sour cream, cream cheese, I'm going to add grated cheddar to the mix and then mix it all together. Get those eggs whizzed in. Either use a whisk. I actually find a spoon works just as well. Beat that all together and then remember to add salt and pepper. I've got another dog at my feet. So I've always, whenever I'm filming, there's normally an animal underneath me or to the side of me or something or other. To be very careful not to tread on her. Right, that is done. That is good. I'll clear the decks and get my pastry case out. So I've just taken that out of the fridge. I'm actually going to use it in a large Aga tray because I just find it easier to handle because it's loose bottom. I'm not going to have a problem. Now there's caramelized onions. Look how good they are. And just mix that balsamic in. And then evenly spread this out. So you don't want your onions to be too hot. Let them cool a little bit before adding them in. and get all of that balsamic in there as well, as much as possible. And then just spread your onions out evenly-ish, if you can. Get into the corners, kind of like that. And then I'm going to add in, hang on, let's get another spoon, not even a knife. Add those in, don't want any to go to waste. And then our bacon. So we've got the fat off. Just sprinkle that over as well. And then one last mix of that and pour that over the top. Just using the back of the spoon, spread that out evenly as well. Make sure you get into the corners. Scrumdiddlyumptious. Cannot wait to try this. So good. It's the first one I've made this year. And there we are. That is ready to go into the oven for probably 25 to 30 minutes. I'm going to do it in my roasting oven, which is about 180 to 190 degrees Celsius. And I will pop the plain cold sheet in so the top doesn't burn. But if you're using electric oven, probably 170 fan oven for 25 to 30 minutes. It's a little bit of a madhouse in here, but my quiche is ready, it is done, and it smells amazing. It looks delicious, and I cannot wait to try it. I'm going to leave it to cool for about 10-15 minutes, and then I'm going to show you the easiest way I have learnt to take it out of its tin ready to serve. Once your quiche has cooled enough to handle, pick it up, spin that out of the way, and place it on a pudding bowl, an upturned pudding bowl, and then just carefully take it out. And then I've got a chopping board waiting in the wings, and there we are. And that makes it so much easier to serve like that. Chop it up and enjoy, either warm, cold, for a picnic, however you like. But that is my quiche. I'm going to get a little bit of parsley to decorate the top. And voila, there we are. So the recipe will be linked in the description of this video for you. I really hope that you enjoy recreating this. Now remember, on a Tuesday I have a how-to video, on a Friday I have a vlog. If you're new around here, I would love it if you hit the subscribe button and rang the bell to be notified of my weekly videos. I love creating things all around the home, the English countryside, and our animals, which we've got quite a few of at the moment. It's a little bit of a madhouse, but it's fun, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But I really hope that you enjoy that recipe, and I look forward to seeing you on Friday with this week's vlog.